OTA 4, you got to watch it. It was a good day for us. You know, coming off a 4-day weekend, we had a little bit of heat to it. We promised OV this was going to feel like Miami, and it did finally. And it's always good when you add the elements to it. I told the players that we want to build a gritty team that can overcome the environment, and this is the first time they had a little bit of heat, and I think it was good. They pushed through it. So again, just one more step closer to being a good football team. Our guys competed well, and we'll get a chance to have 2 more of these this week. So that being said, I'll take your questions.
I saw Landon up there at the end, 707. So you had a schedule? Or?
I don't know what his schedule was. But yeah, he was out there competing in a limited basis, and he's trying to do everything he can as he finishes up his rehab.
Do you expect him to be cleared for training camp at least?
I'm hopeful. You know, I think it was a break, right? And so, you know, as it heals up and he gets back to where he's 100%, then we'll get him out there.
You didn't see Odell out there. Is he healthy? Is he here?
Yeah, he's healthy, and he wasn't out there.
Do you know where he is?
I do.
You knew that him and Janaris weren't going to be here today?
Yes, I talked to him.
Was this Damon's first OTA? Was he here?
Damon was here today, and yeah, he did a good job. So.
Pat, have you guys discussed as a team the new national anthem policy and how you intend to handle it, you know, from a team standpoint?
We have not discussed it as a team. You know, going to sort of let it settle for a little bit here. You know, it's like any new rule. This is a new policy, and I certainly trust that our players are going to do the right thing. You know, and I think we just let it settle for a minute. At some point, you know, we'll discuss it, but we just haven't done it yet. I know certainly for me, it's very easy. I'm going to face the flag and take my cap off and listen to the anthem and be thankful that my family and I live in the greatest country in the world, and be able to kind of reflect on and be thankful for all the sacrifice that a lot of people have gone through to help protect and secure our freedom. So that's what it means to me. And again, I think at some point we'll talk about it as a team, and I trust that our team will do the right thing.
How much have you been involved in the personnel side of stuff, and even moving forward with Odell and his contract? What's your role in that, if at all?
Well, I'm involved really in any facet of what's going on with our team. You know, and you know, certainly when we go through the draft process, you know, Dave runs all that. We talk about free agents and changing the roster. Obviously, Dave's the point man on that. But we have discussions. We talk about what adding a player means to our roster and how we would use them. Talk about evaluations of players. So I am involved.
Is it any different than where
Very
you
similar,
were in Cleveland in that regard, at least?
Very similar to the other places I've been.
How is Eric doing with his move to the right side? Last time we were here was sort of the first time.
He's actually done a really good job. You know, he's an excellent athlete, and he's handling the move pretty seamlessly.
Can you see already improvements or differences?
Yes, I can. I mean, through the first 2 weeks of his training, I think he's made improvements, certainly.
Obviously, we heard that the reason he wasn't here was that he was unhappy, but since he came back...
We don't know that.
Right, we don't.
We don't know.
What have you noticed about his attitude and his approach since he came back?
He's been great. I mean, he's been communicative. I'm going to say that. He's been communicating well. It's a tough word to say. Anyways, he's been communicating well. He looks like he's having fun playing out there. He's worked in with the offensive line, and he's done everything we've asked, and I anticipate that'll continue.
So you don't know that. He never conveyed that to you, that he was unhappy.
I don't worry about it, because it wasn't. This is a voluntary setup, and so he's here. We're glad he's here, and he's making improvements each day.
But you said you spoke to him, right?
Yeah,
so
I did.
There was no nothing from his end.
That's all water under the bridge, and it really doesn't matter.
Pat, when you've talked about clean slates with players,
Correct.
Does that also translate over to guys who've been history of injuries and things like that? You know, sometimes that can wear on a coach. You know, you're here for a couple of years, a guy hasn't been healthy.
Yeah.
You know, with guys, do you kind of say, look, they've been hurt in the past, but now we move forward with that? Or?
Right. Well, you got to kind of look at, to answer your question, yes, it's a clean slate all the way around. So the guys that were injured a year ago are fighting their way back to get healthy again, some of those injuries are not things that are going to repeat. So we'll just, and it's usually on a case-to-case basis.
Do you sense anything with B.J. Goodson as far as, he had a rough year last year?
I don't know that. I think he's been doing very well out here.
We talked to Eli Apple last week about reflecting on what his season was last year, and
Yeah.
he sort of owned up to some of the mistakes and said that he was a little embarrassed by it all. As a coach, hearing a player own that, what is your thought to that?
No, I think that speaks to maturity, and that speaks to, we have to all own our successes and our failures, and we got to be willing to, okay, if a mistake happened, in order to move forward from a mistake or something that went wrong, we have to admit that it happened and we were involved in it. And then what you do is you find a solution, you make the correction, and you move on fast. And that's really what we do play to play. And I think as professionals in this business, we do this probably game to game, season to season. And so I think it's whatever happened a year ago and whatever he's talking about, I'm sure that's just a mature guy that's reflecting.
And have you seen that in just his plays? Because it's one thing saying it and then actually putting in the work and physically being out there and present.
Again, what I've seen on the field has been terrific. So.
Now, when you guys signed Michael Thomas, were there any conversations about his decisions to kneel during the anthem?
Not with me, no.
Regarding Odell, is there an expectation that he may play, or that you guys want him to play on this fifth-year option this year? And do you worry that taking longer to negotiate and get a contract done will create an issue that doesn't need to happen?
No, Dave said it already. Contracts will get done when they'll get done, and we're not worried about that. My experience with Odell has been that he wants to play football, and he's looking forward to getting out here. He isn't quite ready with his, he hasn't quite finished his rehab yet, so he can't do everything totally. And with regard to the rest of your question, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
How close is he to getting cleared?
Pretty close.
We'll take two more.
How's the kid doing, number 10? How's he doing? The kid, number
The
10.
kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 10.
Physically, how does
He's
he look?
he looks great. He looks great, and he's been doing a good job. I mentioned already, he's a joy to coach. A quarterback that's engaged at the level that he is a lot of fun, because there's things constantly changing. Plays change on the move. Adjustments are being made. You see, within a practice, you might see something that you didn't think you would see, and he's able to kind of make an adjustment. So he's been a lot of fun to work with.
Pat, in regards to the real kid on the team, being Saquon Barkley, instead in regards to the real kid on the team, Saquon Barkley, in terms of your expectations at this point, it's so early.
Right.
But what has he been able to achieve so far in such a small frame of time compared to perhaps what you've seen from other rookies in the past?
I mean, he hasn't disappointed us one bit. I mean, we have high expectations for all our rookies, especially Saquon, and he's been out there, he's been running the ball well, we've caught the ball well, did a nice job again today in pass protection. So he's doing all the things we need to see him do to trust him out on the field next fall, and he's done a good job.
Is the new kickoff rule going to change the way you formulate your final roster, types of players?
Yeah, I don't know that yet. I'm sure we got to think about that a little more. I think the new kickoff rule is designed to make our game safer and still keep that play in the game and keep it exciting. And so we're going to still need big athletic guys that can cover, regardless of whether they're kicks or punts. So probably not. Probably not.
Coach, we got two more. 1, 2.
Okay.
Go, Art.
You've talked a lot about the desire to run the football. You want to run the football. But there are a lot of coaches in this league and players talk about running the football, then you get out on the field and it's, throw it everywhere.
Yeah.
When does that start, the foundation to that start? Is it now? And for you, is it a mental thing, the idea of sticking to that?
Yeah. Holy smokes, we're breaking.
Nice job, sir.
Well, you need to run the football for your offense, certainly, but also for your team. So you see we practice runs as much as we practice passing the ball. You just can't do it in the physical setting that you do when you have pads on. But you practice it as part of your DNA. It's whatever you're going to plan to do on Sundays in the fall, you need to practice. And so we practice running the football and how we're going to run the ball. Getting to certain runs, we practice it all the time.